starting recording. Yeah. Hi everyone. Well, if you don't know me, I know because I've got some students from other courses here. I'm Heidi. I'm a stage 1 tutor for the Art Foundation course, also teaching GCSE, and I'm also working with the level 2 students as well. So on lots of different courses here. But what I wanted to quickly go through is I'm hoping it will help everyone creating backgrounds. And if anybody has created sort of a background already, and I'm going to swap the camera over to show you some examples in a minute, but creating a background on your sketchbook page. So instead of you just working on a white piece of paper, it's really interesting if we can create some backgrounds and then you can draw on top of those once they're dried, okay? And it really creates a different sort of style to your work instead of always working on white paper. And this goes for all students in all courses, so I'm hoping it's going to help. If anybody's done any of the techniques that I'm going to go through today, just let me know. I'm going to start off straight away. Okay, I'm going to move the camera around. First one I want to show you is watercolor with salt. So let me know once I'm moving the camera around if anyone's tried that technique before. I'm making sure, have I got, oh, I have, need to take the blur off. There we go. So has anybody tried watercolor with salt before? Let me know. So I'm moving my chair around. It's a really great technique if you haven't used it before. Can you see how you can get all this like mottled effect? And that's just watercolor, sorry. And then we get sprinkles of salt on it. I really like this technique. And here's another one that I've made earlier. Again, it gives this gorgeous marbling almost effect, doesn't it? Right, so quick and easy, lovely technique to start us off. You need basically watercolors and you also need some salt. And I've just got basic table salt here. So just normal table salt and your watercolors. And what I quite like doing is, oh, here we go. Sort of wetting the page first a little bit. Oh, I've got a bit of paint already on my paintbrush. So wetting the page slightly. I've got my paper A5 size here. I suggest, and I'll show you this at the end of the lesson, workshop, just if we have time, but I suggest you work A4 size, because what I'm hoping you guys will do is build up a kind of a folder, I suppose, of lots of different backgrounds, which you can then use. And I'm literally just splodging this paint on. And I'm hoping you'll use all of these backgrounds and all of these techniques that we're learning today in your future projects. And if you create a sort of folder of lots of different colours, lots of different techniques, you will find that you're going to build up a big folder of work. Right, so watercolors. Can you see I'm using a lot of water here and I'm just splodging a few different colors on. I'm trying to get ones that are quite dark, if you see what I mean, because you'll see in a second. And I'm keeping lots of water, that's the key. You don't want it to dry out, because in a second, and I'm working quite quickly, in a second I'm going to show you. Here we go. So that's a lot of water on there. And what I'm going to do now is literally sprinkling some salt onto my page here. And I don't know if you can see that on my camera, actually. Let me know if you can't see that on my camera. Yeah. Has anybody used this technique before? Oh, yes, you have. You've used this on work before. That's brilliant. So what I'm not going to have time to let that dry out, but I'm going to try and bring that up to the camera really carefully. Can you see? Oh, right. So a lot of water when we're creating these lovely shades, because that's the key. When you put the salt on the really wet water paint, it soaks it all up to give this lovely effect, okay? What you need to do now, though, don't know if you can see all my little bits of salt sprinkled on top of there. Yeah, can you see that? So lots of water. You can keep it whatever colour you want. You don't have to use the same colours as I have here, but you can build up your layers, create lots of different color palettes. It's completely up to you. This needs to dry, and it takes a while to dry because obviously I've used a lot of water. So I'm going to put that to the side in a proper style. Now I've got to find somewhere to put that on the side. This is the this is a sort of a similar style that will come out. It's sort of the salt soaks up the colours and the watercolour, and it'll create almost like a little marbling effect. It's really lovely. It's a really beautiful, almost watery effect, isn't it? It's a really lovely effect on your page. And what you can do with this, and this has got to be dry. Once it's dry, I've got some little bits of salt. You just wipe off the salt and it will come off really, really easily. Okay, so once it's dry, you rub across with your hand or a bit of tissue, you rub the salt off and it will just wipe off. But it's got to be absolutely dry. Okay, so really be careful. Mine's not going to be dry to show you by the end of this workshop. And then here we go. Once you have got that lovely dried bit of watercolor with salt, you can then start drawing on top of it. So instead of just a white background, you can then draw on top. This one's just a natural form image that I've drawn just using graphite pencil. Oh, and a little bit of biro as well over the top. But a graphite pencil, can you see? It really shows up, doesn't it? All that tone and that detail on that lovely background. So think about the colours as well. I was drawing some pinky purpley flowers, so I thought this watercolour and salt background would show really well with that. But think about the colours you're using as well. Has anybody got any questions for me about the first background? I'm aware of time, you see. Hi, Josie. Yeah.
I was just wondering, what paper are you using for this?
Oh, I'm just using, it's actually not even watercolor paper, to be honest. It's just from my sketchbook that you can use, I think, pencil, paint, all sorts. But you don't even need to have proper watercolor paper. Just your normal. If you don't use it too thin. For example, printing paper, please don't use that because it will go all crinkled. Yeah. What kind of paper have you got, Josie?
I have some like mixed medium sketchbooks that I think will work.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Mixed media paper, that'll be fine. But it does give that lovely effect. Also, if you use the mixed media paper, you can draw on it a little bit easier, can't you? When you use the watercolor paper, it's got that texture, hasn't it?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. Has anybody else got any questions before I move on? The next technique you've probably used before, but I'm going to send you a little PDF. But the main key for this, you've got to put the salt on when it's wet. Don't wait for it to dry, okay? You've got to make sure the watercolor is wet when you put the salt on. Okay, the next one I want you to do, and you've probably used this one, but it's a great effect and I really, really enjoy it. I've already ripped half of my page. Imagine that was a full A4 piece of paper, but the coffee staining or tea staining. This one's such a simple yet effective way of creating a background. You can use coffee or tea. It's completely up to you. I'm using coffee here, and you simply, again, water down some granules in a little cup here. I've just mixed it up, and really just, I suppose, if you want a darker shade of the darker brown shade. You can also make it a bit thicker, but the more water you have, the lighter the shade. You know, and then you can see what techniques you want. Coffee is also really good. Oh, this paper's really soaking it up. If you want to try and create some effects with pulling, can you see how I'm tilting the paper and it's sort of bleeding down the paper slightly there? It's quite good for that, and you can really get some lovely effects. Also, if you splodge a little bit of water on it, just water, not coffee now. See if this will work. Can you see how you can splodge? Ooh, hopefully that's showing on the camera. These little bits of water sort of makes a little effect of, oh, it's not really showing up very well. I'll pull it up. Can you see how I've just splodged a little bit of water in these areas and it's starting to sort of bleed out? Another thing you could do, oh, my coffee's not, no, can't. Another thing you can do, which I did on this one here, unfortunately, my coffee's run out, but you can sprinkle a couple of pieces of the granules, the coffee granules, and if you splodge those on, when you place those on when it's wet, you'll get some nice little effects, these darker areas, these little darker dots. So you could try and blend that out a little bit as well. I'm putting some more water on. I really like that effect, that splodgy splattering effect. Has anybody used this one before? I think most people have. I really enjoy this technique. I'll show you one of my studies in a minute using the coffee. I really like this. If you want more of a subtle background, so it's not as dark as I've created it here, just water down the coffee a little bit and you'll just get a lovely lighter shade. This area's sort of a watered down coffee or tea, gives a much more subtle effect if you want it a little bit of a lighter shade. So you don't need to do it as dark as I've got it here, okay? And again, once that's dry, just move that to the side and you can start, and then you can draw on top of it. So use it as a background to create your studies and your drawings. And again, it's sort of, instead of just a white piece of sketchbook, you're enhancing your drawings a little bit more by working on a different coloured background. This is chalk and charcoal, pine cone here drawn on this coffee background. And again, I've chosen a sort of subject which is sort of got that lovely, almost natural effect here. And I've just thought, oh, that'll work really well with my pine cone drawing. Okay, so trying to think about what backgrounds are going to work well for that technique. Anybody got any questions about the wonderful coffee staining? Simple, but very, very effective. And it'll be different every time you do it. The same as the watercolors, you're going to get some really lovely effects, even almost like you haven't planned it really. Anybody got any questions on that one? For the next, oh gosh, this time is going so fast. The next one I wanted to show you is a little bit more of I've just done it on white paper here because I thought this will show my sort of prints off a little bit more. However, I can work on this actually. Now I've shown you that. Imagine you've got your background and you might want to start adding a few more little effects. So I've got a couple of different ones here. This is just bubble wrap. This is creating textures now, and you can create textures onto just your sketchbook page like I've done here, or you might want to start building them up on top of a different background you've already created, which is absolutely fine. Here's one I've done earlier where I've started building up lots of different textures. Anybody want to guess what this one is? Going to go through it in a minute. We've got 3 different ones here.
Is the blue one a fork?
It is. It is. It's a fork. Yep. Really, just really simple. You can use, and you might find the kitchen utensils are really good for this because for some reason they've got that lovely sort of structure to structure basically. Also scissors, but you've got to be careful using scissors, but you could maybe use scissors, print on those and press those down. I think my favorite, and it always has been, is the bubble wrap. I really, really enjoy the bubble wrap. So I'm going to show you that one now because I think it's fantastic. Those textures it gives is incredible. So here we go. I've just used orange and red here on this one, and on this example I've got a lovely sort of different shades of green and a little bit of yellow there. And all it is using the bubble wrap. So I've got the inside of an old envelope that I think from Amazon or something. So I've used the inside of an envelope, and make sure you're choosing the side. There's a smooth side. Don't know if you can see that on the camera. And then you've also got that textured side where it's a little bit more raised. Make sure you're using the textured side. And I'm just using acrylic paint here, not watercolor, because I think it just won't. Well, you can try it, but I really like the actual structure that's given by the acrylic paint. So quite thick. You don't need to water it down too much. And you can build up different colors if you want. I'm just going to show you with one, but remember, when you're experimenting with all of these backgrounds and textures, you don't have to just keep to one color. You might have different tones of color as well. And you put the paint on one side, turn it over, press it down, and when you peel it off, hopefully you get these lovely textures and effects from that bubble wrap. I'm just showing you in a small little section here, but again, as I said, you can build it up in whatever colors or size of the bubble wrap. That's absolutely up to you. I'm just sort of quickly showing you just to give you an idea of what you can do. So you don't have to just keep it to one sort of background. You can really experiment and play around. I don't know if you can see this on the camera. I've actually just painted it once, and now lifting it up and pressing it down and just seeing how many prints. I quite like that. I quite like the fact that it's sort of darker in this middle area, and I'm just faintly going along, just using the same area, but it's almost giving a sort of blurred out effect, isn't it, with my print there. I really quite like that. So it's not just really dark paint like I've got here. I painted it every single time, but this one I've sort of wanted to go for a more of a subtle effect on the side here. So that's the bubble wrap. I think it's great. I think it's so good if we can use different materials to print with. And it's not just the bubble wrap. You could also use leaves to print with. You could use, I've got a really nice Hessian bag here that it used to have fruit, I think, in apples or something. So I'm just using that lovely texture, again, using acrylic paint to build up. I'm just going to use the same colour because I haven't got time to mix up another bit of colour. But again, just painting on top of that paint, the Hessian bag. It's just a simple bag that used to have fruit in it. And then I'm going to just move that around here. Oh, it's here as well on this corner. I'll put that over to the side so you can see it. Can you see that sort of green effect? And again, printing it, pressing it down, peeling it off to get that really nice effect. I've put it too close to the it's looking too similar to the bubble wrap now, isn't it? Has anybody got any questions whilst I carry on with my lovely print. I could stay here all day, really. I really enjoy building up these backgrounds and textures. Anybody got any questions for me? The main thing I'm trying to show you is how you can really just have some fun and build up some really nice textures just using some everyday materials, and you're just building up some backgrounds. And once these are dry, you might want to collage some other papers that you've already created on top of it. You might even want to collage some of the bubble wrap that you've painted and stick that on as well. Create a texture. You might want to layer up some of the coffee staining and stick that on top of it to create a background. You could use maybe some masking tape, put some strips of masking tape across it and create some sections. Okay, so you can really start building up some nice backgrounds as well. And the fork, I didn't show you the fork, did I? So this was the red here. Again, just the same as the Hessian bag and the bubble wrap. Turn your fork over so you've got the nice flat edge. Ooh, a bit of a mixture of green and red here. And you can paint on top of it. I'm going to move that. Imagine that's nice collage there. Press down and lift up, and you can create some really nice structural shapes. I think that's a little bit more structural, isn't it? These are a little bit more organic, the Hessian bag, and then the fork is almost got this lovely structures to it. Try other utensils from the kitchen as well. See if you can find some other technique. Has anybody got any questions? I'm well aware that we are nearing the end of this workshop. I hope it's given you an idea to how you could layer up some of your techniques. I hope it's given you a starter, basically. And what I would like you to do for all of you is if you could spend an hour maybe painting and building up these wonderful, a folder, as I said at the very beginning, a folder of all of these different backgrounds. So you've got a range of different backgrounds. When they're all dry, put them in a folder all together, and then when you need a background, you pull it out, rip it up, and create a collage. So you've got a nice background, a nice sort of collaged background to work on. It could be mixed media. You don't have to just keep it to one. For example, this one, you might want to collage on top of that again. But you have a whole folder of different backgrounds to work on rather than on your just on one. And then once they're all dry, as I showed you before, you can then start working on top of them. That one's a chalk and charcoal. Here. And then this one, remember, was my graphite pencil on the watercolor and salt background. So you can really start using these backgrounds I'm hoping you're going to create after this workshop, and then use them to draw on top of. Has anybody got any questions? Anybody got any questions for me? I'm gonna see if I can. Anybody got any questions for me? I'm just going to see if I can share this worksheet with you, and I'm going to send this in the chat. Can you let me know if that's working? Give me a thumbs up if you can see this, because what this is going to hopefully this worksheet will help you. It's sort of giving you an idea of 20 different ways to create a mixed media background or a background. And then if you can spend an hour creating a few of these in different colours, and then when they're dry, keep them safe to use in future art projects or to collage with. So you've got just a watercolour wash, and that's just what I showed you at the very beginning before putting on the salt. You've got salt, you've got coffee or tea staining, bubble wrap printing, a fork or comb scratching. There is loads of ideas here. Leaf printing, lots of different ways that you can create your background. So I'm hoping that that will help you, and you can then start using those instead of just using your white sketchbook page. Okay, I hope that's helped. Oh, I'm going to send you that PDF in the chat after this lesson. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today for that quick workshop. It's gone really, really quick. I hope, oh, that's great that you're feeling inspired. I felt very inspired just drawing these two. So I hope you feel really inspired. And as I say, just spend an hour if you can, one day, just having fun and creating lots of different backgrounds from this sheet that I'm sending you, and just really have some fun. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye.